when it comes to leadership, is who you know more important than what you know? To explore this issue is Professor Andrew Kakabadse. Now, Andrew, is who you know more important than what you know?
To a certain extent, the answer is yes. But that depends on the level of complexity that you're dealing with. The functional skills and professional skills required to do a job, let me tell you, are absolutely vital. And sometimes we get the boundaries wrong between appointing somebody for their professional competence as opposed to their network reach, if you like. And where I'm seeing an area that requires attention and people do not wish to discuss really what's happening is the area of boards. Still, too many appointments to boards, even using search consultants, are based on the fact of comfort and fit and having that network reach rather than that independent, functionally skilled opinion that you need on a board in order to prevent risk and minimize harm to the organization. So who you know, what you know is partly a question of providing a professional skill as opposed to dealing with complexities. And one of the complexities are the varying agendas that people have in order to position resources in a particular direction. This is nothing new. This has been ages old. And this is why we have networks. And this is why we have colleagues and friends and individuals that we can talk to, partly because we need to understand what are the natures of these complexities, and partly because there has to be a momentum that you have to be able to stimulate in order to have your point of view, your strategy, your vision realized. Now, it's an interesting theme for human beings that whatever we write in books, the best learning is through interaction. I suspect that's why we have universities. That's why we have schools. Otherwise, you could sit at home and be fed data in a very linear way. But the real learning takes place through emotions, through the sharing of experiences, and getting people on your side and getting them engaged so that they accept more your point of view as opposed to another point of view is the network. So when you have network-based complexity, when you have conflicts of vision, when you have conflicting priorities on a grand scale, it is very important to be able to influence. And usually the influence that works is from the inside, but not from the outside. That's why who you know now predominates over what you know.
Now, some people see rather sinister aspects to this of things going on behind closed doors. I mean, I know that you've just written a book, for example, Bilderberg People, where very high-level people meet and make decisions and discuss things in a very confidential way. Is there something dangerous about that and bad, or is it a good thing?
It's both. The dangerous and bad cynical part is when you get one group that has an overwhelming reach and is pushing their agenda in one direction. The good thing about it is you will always get people who will talk to each other under confidential circumstances because they need to explore, because they need to let their hair down, and because they need to have a confidential conversation that allows, if you like, half-truths to be spoken and half-ideas to be explored. I mean, just imagine if the CEO of a major corporation was at a meeting expressing his doubts about the future concerning his strategy, which are real doubts, by the way, and that became public. Share price of that organization would drop. But most CEOs have doubts about the future. How can a CEO predict what's going to happen 4 years with the rapid turbulence that we face right now? So you always need the confidentiality of a meeting to explore ideas that help you clarify your own. The cynicism is when one point of view predominates over the other, and I have to say that is a concern.
Now, some people say in this world of Facebook, social media, tweeting and so on, that the wisdom of crowds, that things have opened up completely and that we don't need these closed conversations anymore. What's your view?
Makes no difference, actually. The whole IT movement is basically there for people to get together and discuss issues. I doubt if you'll find highly confidential issues that have behind them a massive capital support that could put thousands of people out of work being discussed over Twitter. What you may have is people's personal lives being discussed over Twitter, but we did that in the pub in any case 30 years ago. So I don't see that there's any real pattern or shift in the way we're communicating. We're just using different channels. The conversation that friends had between themselves at some sort of informal gathering, they're now having through electronic media as well as meeting in the pub. The conversations that were held behind closed doors are still being held behind closed doors, and you'll never see any public medium trying to capture that in a meaningful way. Hence the paranoia, hence the conspiracy theory.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Pleasure.